One thing I'm taking away from this is the way you're talking to the agent, giving the instruction is as if you're talking to maybe a junior assistant.
Exactly.
Giving them clearly what exactly to do.
Love the visualization. It makes it so easy to understand. I'm a visual person. If you explain the same thing to me without the visualization, I'll be like, yeah, okay.
And this is the poof moment.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our Tech Chronicles podcast. This is episode 41. This is going to be a hands-on episode where we walk you through how Sean built an AI agent to automate daily life. We're going to walk you through the problem he tried to solve, the motivation behind building an agent to solve that problem, and show you the tools he used and step-by-step instructions so that you can do it too. Let's go. Sean, you want to kick us off? Like, what is this problem you wanted to solve?
Before we get there, I have a question for you guys. What's the youngest age your kid has ever outsmarted you with technology?
Ooh.
Oh, I remember. So it was actually my daughter. So one of our friends bought iPad mini, like when it came out. This was, I think my daughter was maybe 2 years old or maybe 3 years old. And it was like so intuitive to her. Like, I didn't know like you can tap with the three fingers and it does something different than when you tap with the two fingers. I was like watching it, I was like, wow, these kids know how to operate this in ways that I didn't know. I would say like that was the example for me.
That's pretty cool. I'm sure there were many more, but this happened very recently where my 9-year-old daughter showed me how I can change some setting in the iPhone where the wallpaper like moves as you tilt it. I didn't know that was possible, so that was very cool. I forget what it's called, but that was neat.
Those are pretty cool stories. Yeah, my kid, probably around 4 years old, started using Quizlet, the app on the web, and I couldn't find my way around to teach my younger son. And the 4-year-old taught me, Dad, this is how you do it. So that was my first aha moment. It's like soon they're going to outsmart us and take over. All right. So that's a good segue into what I would like to show the audience today. I am no expert in AI, but I dabbled around figuring out how to build AI just out of curiosity. And I came across a few things that I think moms and dad online listening to us can benefit from, because you don't need to be a technical person to know how to use agents and even build one for you, which we'll go through today. Before we get started, anything else, Roshan?
No, I'm excited for
Yeah,
this.
same.
The use case that I personally used is that in our county in Wisconsin, we have free events for kids every month. They release an event calendar online, which is like pretty basic, just listing of events, and you can put a date range and find them. Every now and then I go in there to find if there's any suitable events for my kids to take them out, just being a good dad. But when I get busy, things don't happen. So I wanted to set up an agent that'll periodically review this calendar and automatically create events in my family calendar so that we don't need to go to this site every time. It'll automatically pick the appropriate events because there are so many events going on for adults and grown kids. We care so much. Now, with the advent of ChatGPT and other AIs, it can actually understand what those events are and then organize them and add them to your calendar.
Oh my gosh, I can already think of a few use cases for me myself as well. School calendar, and then my son's like all these sports. We have these tools like Team, Snap, and Baiga where they have games. So we manually create these calendar events. I would love to automate that as well.
Awesome. Let me share my screen. All right, so this is the calendar I was talking about. This is the village of Menominee Falls, and you can see the events listed here. Generally, they are listed just for the current week, but you can actually go month by month.
Hey, Sean, I have a serious
Yeah.
question. Sorry. Do you guys actually have a waterfall there?
There is, you'll be disappointed. It's a tiny waterfall. This is what they call the waterfall. You see, it's just flowing. It's funny that we actually went to hunt down this fall, and this is what we bumped into, and it's like, is that a joke? Like, that's not a waterfall. It's like a dam, a mini dam. Yeah, but
It's a mini dam, yes. It's an overflow.
that's a good one. All right, so you see this calendar going this way, and you can select November, December. But what I would like you to notice is the top part. As I'm going through dates, like in December 1st, you see it gets added year and month here, which is going to come handy later on because we have to tell the agent some information for it to figure it out. We have to give some hand holding. If we just simply give the URL, it's just going to read what's available and digest that information. So I wrote a little story here. This is what you would probably tell an intern to do. You just write it in your own language. You're a family event manager. Use the following URL to find events. Note the query parameters for the year and month. So what I'm talking about is from here to here, right? When the agent runs, pull all events that are suitable for kids aged 8 and 12. We'll talk about parameterizing and making it a variable later on, but just for the simple use case, let's stick to this using ChatGPT. Because reason I'm saying ChatGPT is if you don't specify, then there will be too many options for us to figure out later. If you're not able to determine, now this is important, if you're not able to determine from the event description whether it is suitable for kids, open the event link for more details. So I'm asking agent to go individually and open the link and find what that event is about and then figure out whether it's suitable. So I'm asking agent not only to scrape the screen and find events, but also go into events to figure out whether it's suitable. Once you've gathered all the information, line them up in a number sequence for user selection. User may select events by a range of numbers or a single number to exclude. Once the user confirms, add the event to the Google Calendar. Sounds simple, right? Yeah.
Shan, yeah, one thing I think I'm taking away from this is the way you're talking to the agent, giving the instruction is as if you're talking to maybe a junior assistant,
Exactly.
giving them clearly what exactly to do and what you're looking for so that they can do a good job. You forget the agent, as if you're talking to another person so they can take this information and do something, right? Is that right?
Exactly right. And then you know what the junior assistant make some mistakes, and then we reinforce by updating the story again with a little more clarity. And
Mm.
that's what they call vibe coding, right? So the whole thing about vibe coding is basically you are using a natural language to ask the AI to build something. And a lot of time it'll build what you ask for with a little more intelligence. But if you're asking pretty crappy things for it to build, ultimately you get a solution that is very fragile. Having the little bit of thought would help. So what I could have done is I could have just copied this story, which I wrote naturally, I promise. I can put it into ChatGPT and say, hey, can you polish it up for an AI agent to understand better and ask me
Mm.
clarifying questions? Then the ChatGPT will, go through this and then nicely format it, and it'll ask clarifying question like, how do I determine the time period that you want to look at? Like you mentioned, this is year and month, but you didn't tell me how to use it. So I wanted to get to
Mm.
that.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to copy this in my clipboard, and then I'm going to go into my favorite agent builder. So far, I've used about 3 agent builders, namely the OpenAI, NA10, and Anthropic. But I found N being the most user-friendly for a non-technical person to use. I mean, OpenAI is also user-friendly, but it comes with too many limitations that you wouldn't use for a serious use case. And I currently have instance running, but typically what you would do is just click on sign up and it'll ask you what do you want to call the agent, and then it'll ask for an email address, and you can give any email address you want because it doesn't even check for email validation. You immediately get an instance for you to play with. So for now, I'm going to just go to my one, which I've built a few workflows, but we're going to start from scratch today. Start with create workflow, and you will be taken to what we call a canvas. So when you land here, this button is your starting point because from here you can say, how do you want the agent to get triggered? It could be through a chat session. It could be a scheduled job, like every month you want to run it. Or it could be a webhook. If you're a developer, you know what that is. You can call it from another application and so on and so forth. So many options. But today we are going to start with the chat message option. So, and it'll ask you for few details. Ignore that for now. So this is where we are beginning our chat session. Then the question is, what is next? And trust me, you don't need to go through all this because I'm going to give you the easy option. But for now, I'm just explaining how this agent canvas works. So the next is going to be an AI agent. So I'm going to select AI agent. So agent looks like this. So agent needs three important things. One is, what is the chat model it uses? The large language model is the brain of the AI agent because it needs to be able to understand what you're asking it to do in natural language. So it runs through the large language model to translate that to something that it understands. And then next thing important is memory. If you're asking so many questions one after the other, it needs a memory store to keep that conversation so that it can refer back to what you now call it as this. Because after about 3 messages, if you say, what is this? It needs to be able to go back to previous conversation memory to find out, okay, that's what you mean. So without memory, it's going to be like Dory from Finding Nemo. It's going to keep on asking, what was that? And then finally, tools. This is where the agentic AI really shines. So there are so many tool options. So AI agent needs chat model to understand what you're asking for, memory to remember the conversation, and tools to actually perform tasks. Any questions? I've been talking for a while.
Very
I
clear,
I
sir.
love how this is representing the different aspects of interacting with agents. I think memory, another way to think is if you are doing, let's say you are interacting with like ChatGPT, and if you're interacting within the same chat window, that's kind of, they also refer to as the context window. So it has the context of your conversation. If you open up another one, then it doesn't have the context of your previous conversation. So in this case, the memory is that context window that you want it to have, apply to the conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you look at the tools, the options are limitless and it's growing in a disturbing way. Like there are so many applications getting added on a daily basis. I still keep scrolling. So just a small information to add here is that if you're working in a company that is really massive, then the chances are that you're probably not going to be able to utilize their tools in an end because what I'm running right now is on cloud, and most of these big companies have pretty strong firewall protecting those conversations. But if you're a small to mid-sized company, chances are that you can actually build productivity tools on and for working out your Outlook, your Teams, Slack, and so many conversations. You can build an AI agent to either respond to or give you a summary, whatever that creative idea would be. All right, so in this case, our chat model is going to be ChatGPT. I will say OpenAI. So OpenAI, and then memory is going to be, this is the free memory that you get. You don't need to pay for it. But if you wanted to expand your context memory to something massive, in cases of research, you need to actually pay for memory because it's not just conversation it's storing, it's also storing all the payload coming back. Like if you're asking for questions like explain about aerodynamics, right? It's going to go through and grab all the information and test tons of text that it actually need to store somewhere so that it can go back and refer to that later. So for those cases, you need paid, but for now, we'll just select the simple memory. The simple memory comes with a maximum of 5 previous conversations. And then for tool, we are going to use, let's say, Google Calendar. There are so many Google suite of products here, but what we'll be using today is Google Calendar. There you go. All right. So this is what typically looks like your agent. You have a chat session and then you talk to them. And in the future, if you wanted to, if you're satisfied with your agent working, then you can make it a scheduled job. So for that, you will go in here and say, I wanted new trigger. See, it says add another trigger. So you can go in here and say, I want on schedule. So now the same agent, you will be putting a schedule on so that now it is bimodal or dual modal. Basically, you have an agent running every month, but if you have a question that you wanted to ask, interrupt it in the middle and ask, you come here and you basically use the chat to ask those questions. So that's pretty much it. I didn't do any kind of configuration because I'm going to show you an easy option to do that. Any questions, Asanka, Roshan?
No, I mean, I love the visualization. It makes it so easy to understand. I'm a visual person, right? If you explain the same thing to me without the visualization, I'll be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I also like this a lot. And this has become a standard. In the future, one more thing to say before I go down is that you can actually have another agent and then have agent to agent conversation too. So you can actually build a lot of complex stuff here. All right. So without further delays, I'm going to remember this story I wrote. I'm going to copy
Mm-hmm.
it. And this is the poof moment. All right. So this is the built-in N8N AI agent, and it's a beta right now. This came out about a month ago. And watch what happens. It's okay. I'm gonna delete a few things before I run it. So just to show. So it's going to create the workflow for you.
My God.
So this is completely hands off, where it's trying to understand your requirement and it's actually going to format it. Remember, I mentioned about using ChatGPT to clearly define the requirements and instructions. It's actually doing it for us. And then later I'll show you how it dissected this story and put them into AI readable fashion. So now it's actually trying to find out what are all the components we need. And you can see it's not touching the things that I added, but it's actually putting additional things in here to make it work. So it's still
So
working.
it's added back Google Calendar
Yeah.
and OpenAI, right? Yeah.
You know why there's two of these? Any guesses?
Mm,
Why does it have to have actually two web components? The reason is, remember in our story, we said if you couldn't understand what you read, click into it and go in and get the detail grab,
Oh,
and that's what it is for. All right, so it's saying it is done now. So I'm going to remove the scheduler for now, right? So just stay with this. So it created ChatGPT model and a simple memory, fetch events, fetch event details, remember, and then this Google Calendar. Now, typically, if you're doing it for the first time, there will be some triangles, like a warning sign around here to ask you to set up your Google account. But I already have my Google Calendar added, but don't worry about it. I can show you. Like open up with double click, and here it automatically added my existing Google account, and actually I have two of them. But all you need to do is just go into create new credential, and it'll say sign in with Google and go through the flow, and that's it. Like you don't even have to take your finger off your mouse. It's all clicks, and then it'll basically establish that connection here. All right, so that's Google. And remember the simple memory I mentioned about. So that's 5. We can have fun with it. Now the important part is go into AI agent and find out what it did. So it says connected to chat trigger node. Remember the node we added for chat. And here you go. It actually, I wish they had a bigger screen to open it up. But if you go through this, it has nicely written your task is to fetch events, analyze each event, determine. So it basically rewrote my story in a much more easier and correct way. um, and OpenAI by default comes with a template account, but if you already have ChatGPT Pro, you need to get an API key and come in and provide it here. But otherwise, you can use the free version. All right. So there's two ways to run this. You can straight away ask the question here, like right here is the chat window, or you can run one at a time with this play button and play button and play button. So it's like more like walking through
mm,
the flow. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to try my luck to see if it got it already. I'll say
mhm.
find events in December this year. Okay. Of course, it'll have some bumpy road, but we'll figure it out. So it's visually telling that it's running the chat session and running through the agent. It's asking the chat GPT now that it got the details back from the web, because you can see two memories used. It went through memory context twice. It used this high level web component, web node, and read the massive list of events. And then now it is asking for something. Let's see, find out. Okay, I found number of events in Menominee Falls, December. I filtered to include those suitable or likely suitable for kids age 8 to 12. There you go. Homeschool Fridays. That sounds interesting. Menominee Falls, Elfie, Scavenger Hunt, Lego Club, Family Fun. So it actually found Taylor Swift friendship. That's an interesting one. So it found all the kids stuff. And I can tell you there are so many other events that are like business focused. It filtered all of that out. Minecraft Club, my kid will love to go there. So now it's asking, please let me know which events you'd like to select to add. So I'm gonna, just for us to test out, I'm gonna pick this December 16 sensory story time. So I'm gonna say 9. So now it's going to touch my calendar. All right.
Oh, so
Yeah.
so Sean, hold
Yeah.
on. So in your agent, in part of the instruction was first give you the list and wait for you to confirm which events you
Yes.
like and then do something about it,
You
right?
got it.
I see.
Yeah, that's what we call human in the loop, right? So I made the
Right,
agent workflow
right.
with a human in the loop, so it actually waits for me to give instructions. But
Can you show
yeah,
me again in that AI agent instruction which step that is?
oh yeah, yeah. So if you open up,
And
yeah,
also another question related to that is, so now that for it has to now produce an output for you to read, right? And is that the same chat trigger that you gave, or is it some a different window that showed you the
yeah,
questions?
you see the last line, be conversational,
Because,
helpful, and guide the user through the selection process. If I didn't have this, it's going to be very short and but it'll still list the events, but it may not be as friendly as I want it to be.
mm,
Now, the specific instruction here, it says you will notice that see, it says wait for user to select events by number, right? If I didn't have that step, it's
yeah,
going
yeah,
to add all of them in my calendar.
yeah.
Who would be the sender of the invite? Is that like whose name would it
It is
come
similar
from?
to you opening your own calendar and adding an event because you're
Okay,
using the same
Be-
token.
got it.
So it won't come like your AI agent added this event, but we can actually alter the event description if you want it to say, okay, this is from agent, I didn't manually add it, you can do so. So it is still, looks like it is still waiting for my confirmation. Please let me know which events you'd like to see. Okay, I said 9. Here are the full details. So it's again double checking it, right? Event is this, it's December 16 to 10:15. Would you like me to add this event to your Google Calendar? It's unnecessary. We can tweak so this is where you need to keep tweaking that instruction to say, okay, if I give you the instruction, just go and do it. So I'll say yes. Now this is when it's going to touch the calendar. I've been waiting for it to touch the calendar. There you go. Ooh, problem. So this is likely because URL entered it incorrect. So I've come across this problem before. And so basically, it's overthinking it. Now, I didn't figure it out by trial and error. I just asked ChatGPT, and it said this usually happens because it's trying to do some calendar ID magic here, which you can just simply change it to use your primary. So let me see. All right, so we took a quick break and we figured out the problem. The calendar should be set to primary, and things started working. So we have a fully working workflow, and that actually adds events to the calendar. I did a little more tweak. I added a workflow. So I didn't add it. So what I did was I asked agent here to make my workflow accept information about how many months or weeks to look forward. So now I can ask
Mm,
questions like, yeah, I can ask, okay, can you find events next month or in January? Now it knows exactly how to use that query parameters in the web URL to put that in. Let me open it up and explain what I actually did. This is one of the most simplest node, by the way. It's basically setting a value. It's again, I didn't create it. So it basically put the URL into something outside of my chat instruction. So
mm,
it created a variable called event URL and he added the base URL. And then it said, okay, target age is 8 and 12. So Roshan, in the future, if you would like this same agent that I'm setting up to pump
mm.
into your calendar, your kid's age might be different and I can set it up, and your URL for your county might be different. I can adjust it here. So now we are slowly expanding the agentic workflow capability to do more stuff, more complicated stuff.
This is like a configuration file, isn't it?
Yes,
It
exactly.
externalizes all this.
Exactly. So this is the second iteration of the workflow. And I wanted to show a third one of the same, which is now working with a scheduler too. So you see the workflow configuration.
Oh wow, look at
Yeah.
this.
So now the chat, when you chat with the agent, it'll basically work with anything you give as time period. You can
Mm,
even alter the
mm.
URL where you wanted to find. Now it's more fluid. Now at the same time, now I have a monthly scheduler that is going to process the exact same prompt every month, but it's going to increment the month one by one. So for example, it's going to be an interesting one because in December, it's going to run end of the month, like let's say 31st. It now needs to set the month to 1 and the year plus 1. So that's what's happening here. So if you look at this, it's
Wow.
basically
Yeah.
saying that now it is automated, right? It says true. That means the agent needs to understand, okay, am I running on an automated schedule, or am I running manually because somebody's asking me a question? And this is going to be that
Mm.
flag that determines which one it is. And then you can see after that flag is set, the next one, now this is common, it's going to get both automated and manual. So it will have things like, if it is automated, it's going to set the month. You can see it's adding 1 to the month, and then it's adding month and then finding the year second. So it's pretty cool. As you mouse over, it'll tell you what the result to. If you are a techie, you'll know how cool it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
um,
Nice.
and then, like I said, you can run one at a time. So now I'm running the monthly schedule, and then you can actually see what is the input and output. It's basically setting the time zone of Chicago. The next one I'm going to run. So this is the next step it ran. You can see what
Mm.
input it received, and what output it is sending to the next. So if you go over, it's saying automatically fetch all age groups. So these are prompts that the automated path is pretending to give the prompt to the agent so it can get the result, as opposed to chat actually sending the manual prompt over. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Wow, that's very cool.
And the next one, it's basically getting all the workflow configurations. Now it knows the chat input. Now it has event URL and the target age and the event. So now it gathered all the information it needs all the way up here. And then when I run agent, it'll use that information in a sequence manner, and it's actually doing its thing. So
While this is running, so that add automation flag step is the thing that you have somehow specified that to be, you've asked it to build the prompt as well,
yes,
as if it was done by a chat,
great
right?
question. Yes. So this is the only way it's going to get a predefined prompt passed over every single
Mm.
time. Whereas if anybody comes here, you really need to rely on what the user is saying. So the only way to differentiate the two is through that is automated flag.
I see. Okay.
Can you also configure it in a way to read your calendar to see if the event is already added?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
You would basically, again, it's the same node, but all you need to do is give instructions in the AI, like I showed the instruction window. You say, okay, add the event, and then read the event to confirm that it got added. I didn't go that far, but that'll be a cool one. Yeah.
Or before it adds, check if you already have an event at that time, right? Something else,
Yeah, that's even awesome idea,
right?
like a
For context.
conflict.
Yeah.
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 See, it's endless. You can build so much with this.
Like a true assistant, then,
Yeah.
right? I mean, they'll try and do something like, oh, Mr. Shan, you already have an event at this time. So pick another one.
So it done running?
Yeah, it's done running. Now, if you go into
Oh,
execution, all your past execution will be shown. And this is more for those who really want to understand what's happening behind. So this gives you like everything you click, it'll basically run through exactly what I showed you earlier. If you look at the context memory, you can actually see the simple memory was called 4 times. So it says 4, right? You'll find
Mhm.
simple memory here, and 4 times. So basically you can see, okay, first time, what did the user ask? So you can open up, there's no, basically it's saying load memory variables, that's all. Second one, again, memory variables. Because this is a system run, there's really no conversation going
Yeah.
back and forth. It's actually internal
100%. Yeah.
conversation, load memory variable.
Mm.
So if you run that path, you can go back to execution and see that the conversation memory probably has that chat input you provided.
Sean, I want to see what your canvas looks like in another month's time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been working on a side project for a long time, so I couldn't find a clean example to show today, but hope this works.
no, very cool. I mean, what I like about this is everything is super visual, right? It shows the number of runs. It has the debug output, so you can see the values, the input and the output. So if something goes wrong, you can actually pinpoint exactly where, right? And you have that AI assistant like thing to also help you
Yes.
fix stuff, right?
Yep.
So no excuse in not doing this, I think now.
Exactly. You can open this thing anytime you want. As you can see, I've troubleshot like few things. If you get stuck, don't worry about it. Like you basically copy the error and paste it, and it'll tell you exactly, not only tell you what went wrong, it'll actually fix it for you. So that's a cool part. Well, now the pain points, right? Some of the things that I wish they had is that sometimes these browser component they hold on to the cache, right? So if you change few things, it'll still say, hey, I'm going to use my old cache, and there is really no way to clean it unless you go into execution and manually delete them. They don't even have a delete all option. So this is one of the most painful one. You have to go through this, delete like one at a time, which I don't know why. Hopefully they'll fix it soon. Is that there is really no delete all option, and I checked everywhere for it. So this is basically deleting all your previous execution and therefore deleting all your cache.
I see. So I think,
Yeah.
yeah, no, this is really cool. I'm gonna do this right now. Actually, I'm gonna try and play with this right now. And same for all our listeners, right? If we urge you all to, create an account in N8N, find a daily task that you can easily automate, build a workflow, and write to us in the comments. Tell us how you did. If you have questions, direct it to Sean, and he will respond to your comments on the video. But yeah, we are here to help you. This is awesome. Thank you for walking us through this, Sean.
Yeah, I would also say to the listeners, if there are any other tools that has worked for them, like if you can put a comment like what's the use case, what tool did you use, then we would love to hear that as well.
Cool. Maybe on that note, we wrap it up. This is a really fun one. Thank you for walking us through all this,
It's my
Sean,
pleasure.
and teaching us and all our listeners how to do this. I'm really excited to see what we hear back from our listeners. It should be fun.
Me too.
Thanks, Sean. This is really
Thank you.
cool.
Bye-bye.